Hello, everyone, and welcome to our science podcast, The Genetics Debate. Today, we are asking one main question: should your DNA be an open book? DNA testing can be really useful. It can identify people, help solve crimes, and detect disease risks earlier. But DNA is also very personal information. So, we also need to talk about privacy, consent, ownership, and fairness. Before we start the debate, I want my guests to introduce themselves. Maho, can you introduce yourself first?
Hi, I'm Maho. Thank you for having me. Today I'm speaking as a researcher. I think DNA testing is useful because it can identify people, help solve crimes, and find disease risk early.
Thank you, Maho. And Philip, can you introduce yourself too?
Oh, of course. Thank you for the invite. And my name is Philip. Today I am speaking as an ethicist, and I agree that DNA testing has important benefits, but I think we also need to discuss privacy, consent, and accountability. DNA data is very personal, so we need clear rules about it, who can access it and how it can be used.
Great. So we already have the main debate. Maho is focusing on the benefits of DNA testing, and Philip is focusing on the ethical risks. Maho, let's start with the science. What is DNA testing, and how does it actually work?
DNA testing is a valuable tool because it can identify people, help solve crimes, and detect disease risk earlier. Scientists collect a DNA sample, extract the DNA, and create a DNA profile or DNA fingerprint. Because each person's DNA is unique, matching several samples can provide strong evidence.
It is a good overview. Just to make it simple for the audience, the process is basically simple. First, scientists collect cells from the body, then they extract the DNA from those cells. After that, a computer reads the DNA. Finally, a DNA profile or DNA fingerprint is created. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly. Scientists can collect DNA from samples like blood, hair, skin, nails, or body fluid. Then they read the DNA and create a profile. This profile can help identify a person.
Okay. And where do we use DNA testing in real life?
We can use it in different areas. For example, DNA testing can identify accident victims. It can also help with family relationships like a father-child test. It is also very useful in forensic science because police can compare DNA from a crime scene with a suspect's DNA. And in medicine, DNA testing can help doctors find genetic disease or disease risk earlier.
Okay. I want to ask about the crime scene part a little more. In the lecture, it said one blood sample can be weak evidence, but several matching samples can be much stronger. Can you explain why?
One sample can help, but it may not be enough. There can be contamination, a mistake, or a problem with the sample. But if different samples match, like hair, blood, fingernail, and skin, then the evidence becomes much stronger. It is not only one clue anymore, it becomes a stronger pattern.
So, one match is useful, but many matches together are more convincing.
Yes, exactly.
Now, let's talk about medicine. You said DNA testing can detect disease risk earlier. If someone has a gen mutation, does that mean they will definitely get the disease?
No, not always. A mutation can increase the risk, but it does not guarantee the disease. But knowing the risk earlier can still help. Doctors can watch the person more carefully, give advice, or start treatment earlier. So DNA testing can reduce uncertainty and sometimes save lives.
Okay, I got it. So, your point is not that DNA testing predicts the future perfectly. Your point is that it gives useful information earlier.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, Philip, I want to bring you in here. Maho explained that DNA testing can help with disease, crime scenes, and identification. From the ethical side, what is your main concern?
Absolutely. I agree that DNA testing has important benefits. However, I think we also need to discuss privacy, consent, and accountability. The lecture showed us what DNA testing can do, but it did not answer who should own the data once it is collected. DNA information is very personal. It can show information about someone's health, family, and future disease risks. So we need clear rules about who can access it and how it can be used.
Yeah, okay. So, your concern is not only the test itself, it is what happens to the data after the test.
Yes, exactly. The science can be useful, but the data can also be misused if there are not clear rules.
Okay,
Okay,
I, I understand that concern, but DNA testing can help identify diseases earlier. If doctors know the risk earlier, they can help the patient earlier.
That's true. But who should have access to that information? Should employers or insurance companies know about someone's genetic risks? If they use the information unfairly, DNA testing can create discrimination.
you are right, Philip. So, the benefit is early diagnosis, but the risk is that the same information could be used against someone.
Yes, I agree that employees or insurance companies should not misuse DNA data. But I think the answer is stronger rules, not stopping DNA testing completely.
I agree. I'm not saying DNA testing should stop. I'm saying it needs privacy, consent, and accountability.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about DNA databases and crime. Maho, do you think DNA databases are important?
Yes, DNA database can help solve serious crimes. If police find DNA at a crime scene, they can compare it with a suspect or database. This can help find the right person.
Yeah, they can help solve crimes, but what happens if the data is misused or accessed without permission? A person may give DNA one for one reason, but later, if it could be used for another reason, that creates a consent problem.
This is important. Consent should not only mean take my DNA, it should also mean how will you use my DNA later.
That is fair. There should be clear consent and legal limits, but for serious crimes, DNA testing can still be very important.
Yeah, but the more powerful the tool is, the more careful we have to be.
I want to ask about accuracy. Our another point is accuracy. People often think DNA evidence is perfect. Maho, Would you say DNA testing is always perfect?
No, not always perfect, but it can be very accurate, especially when several samples match.
Yeah, the lecturer also mentioned that DNA identification is not 100% foolproof. Samples can be contaminated, mixed, or misunderstood. So we should be careful before treating DNA evidence as absolute proof.
Oh, so even strong science still needs careful interpretation.
Yes, I agree. DNA evidence should be used carefully and with other evidence too.
Exactly. I'm not saying DNA evidence is useless. I'm saying we should not act like it can never be wrong.
I think this is the main debate. Maho is saying DNA testing can identify people, solve crimes, and detect disease risks earlier. Philip is saying yes, but we need privacy, consent, and accountability. So maybe the question is not only DNA testing, yes or no. Maybe the real question is how can we use DNA testing responsibly? Now we will do a quick lightning round. I will ask for questions each guest. Each guest should answer with yes, no, or it depends, and then one short sentence. My first question: who should own a DNA fingerprint once it is made?
It depends. The person should have rights, but trusted doctors or legal experts may need access in some cases.
Okay, in my opinion, the person DNA is part of someone's body and identify, so they should control it.
Okay. My second question is who should have access to it?
It depends. Doctors, researchers, or forensic experts can access it, but only with strict rules.
Mm, in my opinion, only people with clear permission or a strong legal reason, not employers, companies, or strangers.
Yeah. My third question: how should genetic information be used?
It should be used to help people, such as early diagnosis, treatment, research, and solving serious crime.
Yeah, it should be used carefully only when the person understands and agrees.
Okay. I got it. My last question: would you want strangers to have access to your DNA fingerprint?
No, not strangers, but I would allow trusted professionals if it helps my house or a serious investigation.
Yeah, no. DNA is too personal, and no people should not have access to it.
Yeah, you both of you have a lot of common reasons. So today we did not find one perfect answer, and maybe that is the main point. DNA testing can identify people, solve crimes, help families, and detect disease risk earlier. But it also raises serious questions about privacy, ownership, access, and fairness. Maybe the answer is not to stop DNA testing. Maybe the answer is to use it carefully, with clear rules, real consent, and strong protection. Thank you, Maho and Philip, for joining the discussion. And thank you everyone for listening to the genetics debate. Science can reveal, ethics must guide.
Thank you.